Hey, now, today I want to ask you, can you let go of criticism and judgment? And by this, I don't mean necessarily outwardly criticizing people. Most people don't do that necessarily. They won't say what they think or what they feel about about somebody to their face. I'm talking about what's going on inside you. When you feel critical of somebody and you don't express it to them, can you let it go? And even if it's somebody who you do express things like that to, can you let go of that criticism? Because ultimately, that criticism, that judgment that you are putting upon other people, all that means is that you're self-critical, self-judgmental. That those things you're criticizing in somebody else is likely because you got criticism when you were younger about that same thing, or you're constantly guarding yourself against doing those things because you were programmed as a child to avoid those things. You might have even gotten in trouble for doing them. And so you don't do those things anymore. You don't say those things. You don't act that way. And when you see other people do it, it makes you upset. And you criticize them. Because any civil human being wouldn't act that way. Or anybody who had a heart wouldn't do something like that. Or that person obviously is of the devil, because nobody would do something like that unless they were. Or whatever. Pick your excuse, your reason, your thought pattern that goes along with whatever judgment, whatever criticism you come up with. But then go back and look at that criticism, look at that judgment as it applies to you. In other words, when did you feel like maybe you were judged or criticized for the very thing that you're criticizing somebody else? You may not, who knows, maybe you cannot see or locate or remember a time when somebody outright criticized you or made fun of you or disparaged you, put you down, or punished you for doing or saying whatever it is that you feel critical of somebody else about. But the chances are, even if you don't know or you don't remember when you felt criticized that way, you can imagine in your mind the criticism and the feeling that you get if you were the one doing those things. In other words, if you witness somebody else doing something that you would criticize that person for, put yourself in the shoes of that person actually doing what that person did that you're so critical of. How do you feel about doing those things yourself? What comes up? Feel that anger, feel that unworthiness. Feel that threat of punishment. Sit with that. Notice that these are things that are a reflection of your internal state. It's the way you see yourself. and the criticism that you put on yourself and the judgment of yourself if you were to be doing those very same things. And you got trained about that at some point in your life. It may be before you remember it. It may be something even that at some point you blocked out of your memory. So, by doing this, by going into those feelings of that criticism, you can begin to allow those feelings to be. You can begin to let them come up, say yes to them, and let them go. And in doing that, your criticism of other people will begin to dissolve. And you'll feel less and less critical of others because you're becoming less and less critical of yourself. Because our criticism of everybody else is basically a reflection or a projection of the criticism that we have within ourselves toward ourselves. Typically because that's how we were programmed. To feel criticized, to feel criticized, to feel impending punishment for doing certain things because our parents or some authority figure wanted to keep us in line. And then when you get to the adult stage in life, you continue to beat yourself up about those things and beat other people up about it as well. All right, so my recommendation, any criticism, any self-judgment, or any judgments that you have, look at that as far as how you treat yourself, how you feel about yourself, how you criticize yourself, and begin the process of letting that go. Ask yourself, could I let go of this self-criticism? Could I let go of judging myself? Could I let go of this disapproval? Could I let go of this feeling of the threat of punishment? And could I simply let it go? Would I let it go, and when? And continue that until the feeling dissolves.